My name is Bruce Broster. I am a professor at the University of New-Brunswick. I teach in the geology department. I teach some engineering courses as well as some glacial courses in geology. And I was president in 2010. I was very pleased to become president and be elected to the position. We only had about 100 members that were geoscientists that knew me well enough that I thought, well, I had little chance of being elected, but apparently there were several hundred engineers who had me as a professor and knew who I was, and they felt that I could be trusted, so I certainly was pleased to be elected as president. I got involved with the association in 1999. Wolfgang Fag asked me if I would, in preparation for the joining of the geoscientists in the year 2000, the following year, if I would come and sit in on some of the admissions committee work so that I would understand the routine for admitting members for licensing and for membership in the association. And I've been on the admissions committee since then, occasionally as chair and vice chair, and also on the examination board, again, looking at applications of geologists that wish to be licensed. So my involvement has been over a course of 19 years, and I'm still involved. Well, I've definitely fond memories of being president. I was very proud to wave the flag on behalf of the association. I'm very proud of the work that the association accomplishes on behalf of the public. I wasn't the president when the association merged, but I became the first geologist to be elected to president, and I was elected in 2010. Actually, I guess I was elected in 2009 because you're elected a year earlier, but to serve in 2010, and which I thought was certainly a vote of confidence on the part of the membership, geologists having only been official members, for 9 years. So certainly I was pleased with that result. I had an extremely proud moment when I was picked to be awarded the Bailey Award, which is a recognition for geoscientists, career recognition. I think I was the fourth person to be awarded the Bailey Award, so it was, I considered it a very prestigious award, and I was certainly very proud of it. But I've enjoyed my time on council. I've enjoyed my time in the various committees that I've been active on. I wouldn't change a thing. If I had it to do over again, I'd make exactly the same mistakes that I've made in the past. Yes, I think one of the major decisions that we were faced was, did we want to continue renting space for the association, which was costing the membership a fair amount of money, or did we want to take an opportunity to buy a property and build our own building, which we did. And in the beginning, it was paid off in a very short time, but in the long run, it saved the membership a great deal of money in rent. So it was, I feel, a wise movement at the time. We purchased a brown land and then remediated it so that it was brought up to standards, and we had the opportunity to sell it before we even started building on the property. It was improved to such an extent that it became a very desirable property, and it always will be, that the members can have as really money in the bank, so to speak, should they decide to sell it in the future. I can't really, I'm not saying that we all take our job very, very seriously, or ourselves for that matter, because one of the things I enjoy about being on the committees, and one of the reasons I'm still involved, is certainly the good-natured banter that occurs during our meetings. So you learn not to take yourself too seriously, and you learn to be able to appreciate the opinions of other people as well. but I can't really place my finger on any particular event that I have that I would say is outstandingly humorous. It's unrehearsed. It's out of the blue. It just depends on what particular event is ongoing or what should come forward that somebody will remark on, and then somebody else will remark on something else. Have I been the center? Yes. And have I been the instigator? Yes, I have. So it's just, and it's a very good way to remind oneself to take things as not personally intended. The humor is always a good icebreaker as well, and it puts people at ease. I'm glad you asked.
But he's in the room.
He's in the room, but that's okay. I'm very pleased to tell you in front of Andrew that I think he's an outstanding CEO. He certainly was beneficial to me in my role as president, but also in my role on various committees. I've enjoyed very much the association between myself and Andrew in his support for the duties that I've had in the past and continue to have. He's energetic, pleasant to be around, modest, truthful. Gee, I could go on, but you'll think he paid me to say all these things. I'll just say he's one of the best CEOs that I've come across in my long time in business and other associations. So we're really fortunate to have his services. One thing, as I mentioned, was the good-natured banter that occurs. It's more of a community rather than a strict formal meeting that we have. It's a discussion of issues, but also it's the importance of what the association does and stands for in the protection of the public and maintenance of standards for performance of professional duties. And I feel that it's a serious role, and it's certainly worth my time to do whatever I can to help. I've seen some change with the role of professionals, in that in some areas governments are becoming more involved in regulation of professionals. Our sister association in British Columbia this year in 2018 has a new government in place, and that government has taken an active role in developing regulations for several of the professions, and they've established a professional regulator to oversee the role of the associations, and have appointed government representatives to be on council as members of the governing body. So they've directed changes to governance and changes in basically how things are usually done in a professional association. And the danger, of course, is that if the person is not themselves registered and haven't been through the association, they really don't grasp the significance of all the decisions and all the work that's involved in a regulatory association. People may be appointed because they have a particular bone to pick with an association, or they have an extreme view that the government may or may not be aware of, and of course that can come to play as well. All the members of the association take a sort of an oath of ethics, ethical conduct and behavior. And if they break that, they lose their license. So there's requirements and there's deterrence to doing anything silly if you're a professional. If you're not a professional, then there's no downside to making things up as you go along or having your own bias. Yes, there are two risks. One is the lowering of standards, professional standards, and the other risk is the loss of self-regulation. And since I talked about the loss of self-regulation, let me just say the other major risk is the lowering of standards. So there are pressures to perhaps lower the standards that are required for licensing of professionals in Canada. And this, on the surface, would help people new to Canada to become licensed if there was less education and less experience required. But on the other side of the coin, it would possibly endanger public safety. We have an obligation to make sure that anyone who's licensed has the adequate experience and knowledge as set by council to maintain the professional practice and not endanger the public or their colleagues or themselves. So those are probably the two biggest risks that I think are facing all associations across Canada. I'm vice chair of that particular body, that particular committee. It has money that's been donated by members over the past, and it uses that money to invest, and the profits are returned to the community by awarding scholarships. So there are a number of scholarships that are awarded each year. And it's in the order of scholarships worth $30,000 or $40,000. I can't remember the exact amount. I stand corrected, up to $50,000. I do know that they've been awarded to people that have been very successful and have gone on and done masters and PhDs and have returned that money, that investment, if you like, in their education back to the community. So it's money well spent. Several other things. The association's always been very active in the community. For a while they were having large igloo contests where the big igloos out of ice igloos. They put on an annual haunted house at the Charlotte Street Community Center, and that brings in several thousands of dollars that go back into the community at large. So it's and this is all volunteer work on behalf of our members who put on the haunted house, as well as community members, community people that also work on it. So it's certainly something that people enjoy doing, and it's something that the local citizens of the area enjoy going to. Oh, there's a tremendous amount of personal satisfaction. It's pleasing to me to be able to donate time and see that going to a worthwhile use. Let me put it that way. I mean, we often waste time, so to speak, when the opposite is true. It's time that wastes us, so to speak. But anyway, it's always very self-gratifying. So I do get something out of that association. Well, it means a lot. It's one of the reasons I've stayed in Fredericton as long as I have. In my particular personal life, I've had personal opportunity and pressures to move away, but I like the community, and I certainly have loved my association with the APEG New-Brunswick. It's difficult to advise somebody 50 years or 100 years in the future. However, the one obvious thing that's happening is there's a growth in social media. Instant communication back and forth between people. So you lose that personal touch. And I think it will be important for the president in the future to maintain the personal touch that is now coming through receptions and the annual general meeting that we have. But in particular receptions where the members can come out and you can meet the members and talk to them about what their issues are. And I think what's important is that we have to remember that these are people. They have lives. They volunteer their time, but it's important to them. It's something they find important. And that they're there on behalf of the members. And in order for the members to really appreciate that personal contact is important.